Motor vehicles have become a major part of our culture. We depend on them for work, errands, and fun. For some of us, the act of driving has become so routine that we often combine it with other tasks which can draw our attention away from the road. For others, driving can be stressful, maneuvering through heavy traffic and trying to arrive on time, regardless of the rules of the road. Motor vehicle-related crashes are the #1 cause of injury and death in our communities due to two major factors: distractions while driving and failure to obey traffic laws. Law enforcement agencies throughout the state are responding. They are stepping up enforcement and educational efforts. This video was created to educate drivers on behaviors that can increase the chances of a crash and the laws that are intended to reduce the risk of injury or death. While vehicle-to-vehicle crashes are quite common and serious, this video focuses predominantly on vehicle-to-pedestrian or bicycle collisions. Every year in Wisconsin, an average of 2,800 crashes occur between pedestrians or bicyclists and motor vehicles. In every case, the pedestrian or bicyclist is injured or killed. It is a serious problem. When you're driving in your car, you do frequently see vehicles speeding, running stop signs, stop lights, and failing to yield. All of those behaviors pose a serious risk to pedestrians and bicyclists. Sometimes it seems that everyone is breaking the rules. Ironically, nearly every driver has a complaint about the other driver's behavior. We can change our traffic culture, but it depends upon you, me, all of us as drivers. Our driving behavior must change. We can start by looking in the mirror. My name is Bill Murphy, and I'm a police officer for the City of Madison. We are here today to ask for your help. When law enforcement officers stop traffic law violators, most drivers claim that they didn't know they were breaking the law or say they were just following the flow of traffic. And on occasion, we even see violation on the part of fleet vehicles, delivery trucks, and sadly, police cars when driving in a non-emergency situation. Those of you who are professional drivers represent an organization, whether it's a private corporation or public institution, and should be held to a higher standard. You can act as role models for other drivers. That is why we are making this video. Local law enforcement all over the state are making a priority of informing the public of the state statutes and to demonstrate some of the situations in which they apply. The majority of traffic violations and crashes occur because the driver is not paying attention. Whether talking on a cell phone, talking to passengers, or changing the radio station, any behavior that takes your attention away from driving can lead to traffic violations or collisions. Other common behaviors include speeding to make up for lost time, dwelling on personal concerns or problems, eating, or looking at a map. There are no limits to what can distract us, but remember, every time you drive a vehicle, you need to pay attention to the task of driving. Now we're going to talk about the most common laws that are violated by drivers. State Statute Section 346.57 regulates the speed of vehicles in the state of Wisconsin. If the limit is posted, all drivers, with the exception of authorized vehicles responding to emergency calls, must abide by it. If the speed limit is not posted or unknown, it is defined by the type of road you're driving on. Typically, state highways are 55 miles per hour, residential streets are 25 miles per hour, and school zones are 15 miles per hour during the times that children will be arriving or getting out of school, or any time children are present. Another statute regulates traffic around school crossings and crossing guards. When approaching a school crossing, drivers must travel 15 miles per hour when children are present or when an adult crossing guard is in the crosswalk area or in the street moving cones. Drivers are also required to obey the direction of crossing guards. If directed to stop, drivers must stop their vehicles between 10 and 30 feet from the school crosswalk and stay stopped until directed by the crossing guard to proceed. If there is no adult crossing guard at the school crosswalk, drivers must travel 15 miles per hour when children are present and yield to pedestrians who are crossing the street. Speed limits are set by engineers. They use formulas designed to calculate the safe speeds for all drivers and must take into account the ever-increasing number of vehicles on the road. Studies have shown that when vehicles travel 5 to 10 miles per hour over the limit, they drastically increase the risk of severe injuries or fatalities due to crashes. Always travel the speed limit. You may be concerned about interfering with the flow of traffic or being more of a risk to aggressive drivers, but don't let faster vehicles pressure you into breaking the speed limit. Also, don't feel like you're responsible for controlling their speed. If someone passes you aggressively, let them go, and don't worry, someday they will get caught. This statute requires vehicles must yield to pedestrians. That means that the operator of a vehicle is required to reduce speed or stop, if necessary, to avoid endangering, colliding with, or interfering in any way with pedestrian travel. At an intersection or crosswalk where the traffic is not controlled by traffic control signals, the operator of a vehicle must yield to a pedestrian or cyclist who is crossing the roadway, whether in a marked or unmarked crosswalk. Because our current vehicle culture is not pedestrian friendly, many pedestrians stand near the curb afraid to cross, even though they have the legal right of way. When you, as a driver, see a pedestrian waiting and watching to cross the street, you can slow down and stop while indicating to the pedestrian that you are yielding the road to them. The pedestrian has the responsibility to cross wisely, ensuring that any additional traffic lanes are safe. If the pedestrian is using a white cane or a guide dog, drivers of vehicles must stop at least 10 feet away, even if he or she is crossing outside of a crosswalk area. It is the responsibility of every driver to ensure that a visually impaired pedestrian crosses the street without accident or injury. If you see a vehicle stopped at an intersection or a crosswalk to permit a pedestrian or bicyclist to cross the roadway, you must not overtake and pass the stopped vehicle. A common excuse for motorists who pass a vehicle stopped for pedestrians is that they did not see the pedestrian crossing. But anytime you see another driver slowing or stopping their vehicle, it is your responsibility to identify if they are stopping for a pedestrian, avoiding a hazardous situation, or just waiting to turn. Some drivers think that if they slow or stop for pedestrians, they will either be rear-ended or the car behind them will pass them and hit the pedestrian. When a vehicle rear-ends the vehicle in front of it, that driver was breaking the law. They were either speeding, following too close, or not paying attention. Remember, you can't control what other drivers are doing. You should only be concerned with what you can do to improve traffic safety by your driving behavior. Another common hazard for pedestrians is from vehicles failing to stop prior to the crosswalk for stop signs. State law indicates if there is a clearly marked stop line, the vehicle shall stop prior to the line. If there is no stop line, the vehicle shall stop immediately before entering the crosswalk. If there is neither a stop line, marked or unmarked crosswalk, or if your view is obstructed when stopped at the stop line or crosswalk, you should stop prior to entering the intersection at a location where you can efficiently observe the vehicular traffic on the intersecting roadway and look for any pedestrians crossing from the sidewalk. Vehicles pulling out of alleys, parking lots, or driveways are a primary hazard to pedestrians, especially children. This statute requires the operators of a vehicle to stop prior to moving onto the sidewalk when exiting from these locations. Many motor vehicle collisions, either with other vehicles or pedestrians, take place while turning. This often occurs because the driver may only look for oncoming motor vehicle traffic, may fail to look in the direction that they are traveling into, or may not be aware of pedestrians, bicyclists, or other vehicles in the roadway. An easy way to remember, if you are the one turning, you are the one who should yield to vehicles, bicycles, or pedestrians. Many drivers believe it is legal to enter and drive through an intersection when the signal was yellow. However, the statute that regulates traffic signals says that when facing a yellow signal, vehicles must stop before entering the intersection unless it is too close to stop safely. How do you decide if you can stop safely? Here's a good rule of thumb. If you see the signal change from yellow to red while you are driving through the intersection, you should have stopped for it. State Statute 346.14 regulates the travel distance between vehicles. A good guideline to follow is, you leave at least 1 car length per 10 miles per hour of vehicle speed between you and the car in front of you. That way you will have plenty of time to brake in the event of an emergency. This guideline is applicable for city and town streets in addition to the highways. Granted, the distance could increase based on external factors such as road conditions, traffic density, and weather, and on internal factors such as how we feel or our familiarity with these surroundings. As a driver, you are expected to know the rules and the laws of the road and to follow them. This video has highlighted a few of the traffic laws as they relate to pedestrian safety. Some of them may already be familiar to you, some may be new to you, but all of them are important and are being enforced by police and sheriff agencies all around the state. There are many other traffic laws that are equally important. You can learn more about them by contacting the Department of Motor Vehicles or your local law enforcement agency. Remember, you are responsible for your driving behavior. You are responsible to be alert. You are responsible to know the traffic laws and to abide by them. You are responsible to be attentive when you drive a motor vehicle and to obey all traffic laws. They exist to make the roads safer for all who use them. Thank you for watching.